All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the first TMC Connect partner webinar of 2026. I'm Melanie Thomas, and I'm thrilled to be here with Evocalize, our preferred partner. I'm joined by Justin Ulrich, VP of Marketing, and Matt Marks, CEO of Evocalize. They're going to be discussing local wins, the handshake advantage in the age of AI. And before I hand it off, just a couple of quick housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded, and everyone will receive a copy of the recording afterwards. All attendees are currently muted, but please, we encourage questions. We love questions. So please drop them in the chat and they'll be addressed during the session. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Justin and Matt.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melanie. Matt, I don't know, it might be worth just starting like kicking us off with, a little bit about Vocalize and like why we do what we do, because I'm sure there's a few folks on the call who maybe have not heard of us just because we operate so heavily behind the scenes with a lot of our partners. And then maybe we can get into kind of the current state of, what you're seeing going on with trends and stuff in the market.
Yeah, happy to. Good. Thanks to Melanie for the intro, and I'm sure we have lots of friends, lots of friendly faces on the webinar. But yeah, I mean, I think for those of you who don't know what a vocalize is, I won't make this an infomercial, but just for a little bit of background, we're a growth engine that automates complex marketing for the housing industry. We started out doing kind of lead generation at really large scales for the lead aggregators, the folks who like the portals in the housing industry, who generate leads and then bundle them up and resell them to real estate and mortgage. That was 7 or 8 years ago, and we've gradually built technology over the years to make that same capability accessible, to run highly sophisticated data-driven marketing programs that allow you to kind of own your own lead generation funnel, go out and do marketing across the major online platforms on your behalf. And then we extend it to loan officers and real estate agents as well. So you can not only run sophisticated lead generation marketing programs on your loan officer's behalf, but you can also allow them to participate via kind of a self-service interface. They can contribute their own funds. They can run compliant co-marketing programs with their realtor partners. And so gets to be a way for an enterprise to unlock and unleash a lead generation capability of their own, versus just relying on the sphere or your local kind of relationships, which are valuable, or buying leads from third parties and being subject to that. And I think we'll get into that, but that's I think a little bit of what we're going to talk about is like what's going on in the industry today, right, Justin?
Yeah, for sure. I know I mean, this past year's been crazy busy, with all the different acquisitions and stuff that are happening. You got AI coming on the scene and like it's just like infiltrating, everything that everybody does. I think it's good to at least just kind of level set and maybe talk through, with all these big mergers that are happening, like what does that actually, why are they doing it? Like what does it mean for agents, for LOs, and kind of maybe let's kick it off there and take it from there.
Yeah. So when we think about what's happening, I mean, it's no secret to probably anyone listening live or listening to the recording of the Rocket Redfin, Mr. Cooper acquisition, the Lower Movoto acquisitions. I think everyone generally knows that Zillow's kind of building out some of their own mortgage products, and that's no secret, right? But the question is like why, right? And
Mm,
so I think one of the things that's become pretty clear over the last year is that there's a battle for this first touch or for the relationship with the customer, right? So how do we, and this gets to a little bit of the intro when you asked, what does a vocalize do? Well, we
mm,
actually run relationship building lead generation programs for a lot of these portals. Our first technology was built with Redfin to build out their lead generation pipelines and programs. And so, really, this is a battle, we think, for the top of the funnel. Now, these portals, Justin, are, this, right? But they're powerful. They're
mm.
powerful platforms, right? And they have a lot of data and they have a lot of reach. In fact, we have data that shows the top. If you take the top 5 real estate portals who are again trying to build a relationship, hook a customer in, a home buyer early, nurture them, and then be able to be kind of the one who doles out where that lead goes or where that relationship goes. If you aggregate the top five, so if you take Zillow, Homes.com, Redfin, Movoto, and I guess that's four. If you take the top four, it's about 800 million website visits per month that come into these sites. So like 800 million visits. Now it's not visitors. That would be more people than we have in North America, right? But those are visits. So people are coming multiple times, and those are a lot of visits that are happening. So they're doing is they're trying to capture folks' intent at the very beginning of this thing and nurture them so they build the relationship over time.
Yeah, and they've got it dialed, right? These guys are the best at doing it. They've been doing it forever, and not only are they generating high volume of leads, but they're doing it so much so that they can then, like you said, turn around and then dole them out to everybody else. It's like they've really, cracked the code. And I don't know, maybe it might be good to kind of talk through what they're doing. Like, how are they bringing folks in? How are they attracting them? What are they doing to capture them? And then how are they kind of pushing those leads out?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that, obviously these are big companies and the 800 million number is a large number when we compare it to the number of home buyers a year, right? And so those are big numbers. But what I think most people don't realize, and we only know because we're in the middle of it and we run these programs for a lot of the portals, um, most people don't know that those are small numbers compared to
Hmm.
the actual numbers of the places where people are spending time online. So if you take Meta and Google and TikTok and all of the places that they control and the websites they control and everywhere they can reach online, you actually get to somewhere between 30 billion and 32 billion visits per month on those sites. So
Hmm.
if you compare, the $800 million number sounds really big, but the $32 billion number is a lot bigger, right? And so when you look at how the portals get their 800 million visits per year, there's actually there are a subset of folks who know the brand and have the app and go to it organically or get an email and go in. But between 30 and 50% of the traffic of these first relationships and multiple touch points that the portals get are coming from this 32 billion person or website visit pool, right? And so what the portals are doing is they're casting out a line into with some sophisticated data targeting and some other things, right? To go find people who are likely to be home buyers, likely to be getting into the process. They try to find them early and they pull them into their portal or their website environment and they get them to interact. And Justin, to your point, they're
Hmm.
like sophisticated. They have this thing down to a science in terms of going out and finding people. Again, we do that for them, for many of them. We've automated that process and then we pull them down on the site. And then there are different things that they ask users to do once they get them there. And so that to me is really what a lot of people don't understand about the industry. They buy a lead, but they don't really understand what went into the process, where that
Hmm.
person started, where they came from, what kinds of things they did to get down the funnel. But it's everything from acquiring the customer to nurturing them before they submit a lead. And then you have some sophisticated lead generation, lead forms, lead funnels. You get the lead and then you nurture post lead, right? So you warm them up and
Hmm.
figure out when they're ready to hand off. And so all that stuff is they have down to a pretty good science. And that's why they take these leads they generate at the top of the funnel and mark them up because they've done a lot of work, right? It's a pretty big endeavor, lots of people and lots of technology to make that happen.
Yeah, and in past years, it's been a lot more manual historically than it is now, right? We have the technology now where not only can the big boys like them do it, but now it's available through Evocalize to everybody. Like we have AI that we can leverage to help, attract folks, bring them in. We've got other pieces that we put in place to help convert and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned AI, right? So what's starting to happen? Just to like, I think we want to get into what we really want to talk about here, which is like, so what's starting to happen is the portals. Everyone, I mean, everyone hears the
Mm.
word AI every day, but what's starting to happen is typically these have been huge teams of people at the portals that are creating content, distributing content. There's always been technology to help with that. But all these functions I just talked about this big nurturing process, they're systematically, AI is systematically being applied to different pieces of this process in order to personalize this at a level it's never been seen before, make it more effective, and frankly, to winnow down the number of people who are working on the process, or to expand the business such that they don't need to hire more people in order to do that. And so that's going on now. We see that every single day. AI is being applied at each one of these points, and new kind of functionality comes on every week. And so that's happening not just at the portals, Justin. I mean, you know this, right? But this is happening everywhere. In fact, like some stats I just looked at, in the last year, there's been a 300% growth in the usage of AI. So like, not only are businesses optimizing using AI, but people are, this is not a surprise, like people are using AI more and more as they feel more comfortable with it. 75% of new web page content last year was created using AI. 75%, right? Yeah. Isn't that crazy? 3/4 of all website content was created using AI, right? And so, and I just read a stat the other day, which I thought was pretty fascinating, that it's not surprising, I guess, but 82% of Americans used AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, for housing research in their home search, right? And so this stuff is like, this has become a new go-to tool in the process for shoppers and folks that are using it, as well as folks who are managing the machines to pipe out content to try and attract customers into the funnel, get them down into a known customer state.
Yeah, it's a strange time, right? We have folks who feel like AI is going to take over people's jobs, right?
Yeah.
There's that stance. Those who leverage AI are going to take over people's jobs who are not using AI. The content, folks, there's tons of content out there. People are they're searching for all sorts of information. As like a buyer, if I were to go try to educate myself, it's very easy. But on the flip side, it's also it's like an infinite amount of information that's out there. Some of it is hallucination. It's not even necessarily accurate or fact-based. Yeah. So I, as a buyer, am now getting inundated with all this info, and how do I sort through it to try to get to the bottom of what's reality? And I think that's where the importance of this physical relationship with the LO still lies.
Yeah, not only that, Justin, like I don't know, I mean, because we work together every day, but I don't know how many people listening to this have had what we have happen. I have fake contracts, fake DocuSigns, fake like agreements, fake, like all of this like fake AI generated content is getting stronger and stronger every day. And so it's not just like legitimately AI to use to create good content like the portals do to inform. It's actually, there's a lot of fake stuff. So you bring up the matter of trust, right? So the problem becomes we're starting to get in with all of this kind of broad-based content that's being distributed and created with AI. The fraudsters, like, they're starting to become a little bit of a lack of not just a little bit, a lot of a lack of trust in the process. In fact, we're just working with a new lender the other day, and this probably won't be a surprise to anyone on the call. This is a top 15 lender, and they said, hey, we're not just we need to talk to a physical human being, your physical chief financial officer. We need to talk to her on the phone in order to confirm all the wiring instructions, right? And so this is an indication to me that not only, and this is not a surprise to the financial services professionals on the call, right? But this is what we're starting to see in marketing too. Right. So the marketing world is starting to get a kind of a crisis in trust a little bit. And there are a few stats that struck me here too. 70% of people in a recent poll just that came out in December said that AI content makes it harder to trust content and things online. Right. And 68% worry that it could be used to deceive and scam. I think that's going to rise. Right. And then 80% are concerned about AI-powered fraud. So there's this, like, to your point, there's this AI can do a lot of good things. It's doing a lot of good things to streamline the funnel, make it easier to create legitimate content. But there's kind of a lack of faith developing in some online content that gets to your point about the handshake, right? And so anyway, we spent a lot of time, as you know, Justin, we spent a lot of time thinking about that as an AI powered technology company. How do you where's the right middle ground between AI assistance and the actual human in the loop?
Yeah, if you think through, if I'm an LO, all these tools are incredible. I want to be able to leverage them so that I can, scale my efforts, increase my bandwidth to do other things like interfacing physically with buyers, with sellers, or with buyers specifically. But there's a lot of things that I can automate. There's like if you could just maybe talk through, maybe give some ideas
Yeah,
around like, hey, in a world of like, hey, what if this existed, but in its actual reality, like talk us through all the things that they can leverage AI for today.
totally. So the way we think about this at the end of the day, right? Like we're not in the e-commerce industry. We are not selling Nikes.
Yeah,
This is the largest transaction that people have in their life, right? Just I mean,
yeah,
this is not something to that anyone takes lightly. And so we actually think, again, you know this well, but we think AI kind of counterintuitively for a lot of people is going to bring a return or resurgence of the agent, right? And so
hmm
we actually think I've become convinced of this, that a lot of people think that the local professional, the realtor, and the loan officer are going to be displaced in a world of AI because you can personalize things essentially. I think the opposite, right? I think that people are going to demand to know the local reputation. They may ask to meet in the coffee shop, right? There's going to be an in-person relationship with your local professional, and an in-person, a local neighborhood reputation is going to be required, because you're not going to do the largest transaction of your life with what could be a bot, right? You're just not going to do that.
right,
As people get more and more concerned about this thing, you're not going to do it. You need the handshake. You want to have a coffee, and you want to have a local relationship, and you want to have a social network that affirms in your neighborhood, that affirms the trust in your local professional. You're just not gonna do a deal when you're afraid that it's going to be a bot, because bots are going to be everywhere.
yeah, they are. I mean, there's a massive percentage of accounts on social, just as an example, they're all bots. Like everything out there is bots, and it's becoming increasingly harder and harder to tell the difference between what's bot and what's human.
Totally. Totally. I mean, it's just so
Yeah,
AI is so good at writing content. And so, and
yeah,
it can do it at like massive scale. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the concern. That's a lot of
yeah,
the concern. There are concerns about AI around job loss, rightfully so. I think personally, there's going to be a shifting of jobs, not,
yeah,
but I think this like online trust or trusting digital content, you can already see with, I don't know if anyone has played with Google's Nano Banana or VO3, but like these are image creation tools that are outstanding. They're
that's
incredible.
crazy.
And I can take you, Justin, and put you right beside me in the picture, and it's like we're talking and interacting, and no one can tell the difference, right? And
Like we were
so
friends. Like we were
like we
friends.
were
That would never
actually
happen,
friends,
but
like we're actually shaking hands, right? Um,
yeah,
yeah, man. So I think, to me, that's really what I mean, I think everyone realizes it, but I don't think most people realize is that we think these two worlds are kind of converging, where we talked about the portal, and you asked the
yeah,
question that I didn't answer, which is like, okay, what does this mean? What does the future look like? And I think,
mm,
we think these two worlds merge, and the secret sauce becomes the kind of AI augmented, like the super agent, the super
yeah,
loan officer, right? That's AI augmented. And so like they're using AI to do the things that AI does well: generate content, educate, get their
hmm
word out, become present. And then they're spending time shaking hands in the neighborhood.
hmm
And those two combine together to be a really powerful force. And, there's
yeah,
some like really interesting things that are starting to happen there that, I can talk about. But that's like, I think, where we really feel like this thing
yeah.
is going, and not too long in the future. It's already starting to happen too.
Yeah, if you think about how much time is spent, if I get a lead that comes in, like how much time am I spending, like 10 plus hours trying to figure out, is this person even real?
Yeah,
And we have a lot of tools actually today in place that we can leverage to actually do a lot of that work for you. And it's just a lot of the calorie burn is now gone. So you can actually focus on closing deals and actually that face-to-face interaction like you're talking about.
totally. Well, I mean, you imagine what I talked about earlier and all the things that a portal does and all these lead generators that people are buying leads from, right? Imagine all the things
Mhm.
that they do every day. And all the steps basically today can be automated with an AI,
Yeah.
right? So think about that. Think about that for a minute. Imagine if, and I'll just paint a scenario for you. Imagine if AI builds all of your marketing materials, your images and your videos. It builds them all for you, right? They're authentic, they're yours, they're localized. It builds them for you. It can run marketing to the right places. It can go into TikTok when it needs. It can go into Google. It can create a search ad when it needs. It can go into Gemini. Soon it will be able to go into Chat
Hmm.
GPT, right? That's coming. And so it's going out and finding the right places to put the right content. It's
Yeah.
optimizing that. So it's showing the right messages to the right people. It's building automatic landing pages and lead funnels with the right questions for every product you're talking about. Every,
Yeah.
veterans product gets its own specific veterans funnel. So it's building all those for you. And then it's capturing the lead and then it's calling them for you. This is already
Qualifying. Yeah.
happening. If you don't know, like, it's already happening, right? We're doing it already in our products, right? It's already happening. It'll call you the lead. And it is, if you haven't tried it or haven't experienced it, it is phenomenal because you know what that AI caller doesn't get? It doesn't get frustrated. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get sick. It's not sleeping. And so it can nurture the customer's lead and call. We
Hmm.
capture, and you must capture consent to have AI call back. If you're not
Yep.
doing that, you have to do that in order to use AI calling. You should do that for all your leads today. But then it can warm transfer to you. And they're actually
Yeah.
super cool, right? They can call you in advance while it has the customer on the phone. Once it gets signals that the lead is warm, it can call you and
Mhm.
tell you a little bit about it and say, are you ready to take a call? Or would you like to send it to your calendar booking, right? And it can make those decisions for you. And then it can warm transfer you right in and introduce you. So it's it's
It's
it's
insane.
it's insane, right? We're using it today for those
Yeah.
purposes. And then it can, the even cooler part is this entire thing, AI can train from those calls. So it can learn every call. Was that a good lead? Was it a bad lead? What signals? And then you can use
Hmm.
that to influence who you go after and where you go after
Yeah.
next. And AI can do all of that today. And you know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like the portal, right? Like that's a
Mm.
portal. That is what a portal does. They reach out, they they generate all their custom content. They've had historically teams of people to do this. And so what we looked at that and said, this is coming. In fact, it's this what I just painted, that picture is here
Yeah.
today. And then if that can happen, then like what can we free the loan officer to do? We can free the loan officer to work in their local neighborhood, as I mentioned earlier, shake hands, develop relationship, close loans, and
Yeah.
the AI does everything else, right? And so
Yeah.
then they can put the trust stamp. You know who can't put the trust stamp? The lead sellers. They don't
Yeah.
have the local presence. They don't have the local neighborhood. They're trying to build their brand, the national brand. You as a loan officer can build your own local brand in conjunction with your lender, like our partners at Rate do, like our partners at Guild do, like our partners at Atlantic Bay do. And so you can work hand in hand with the national lender to put these systems in for
Hmm.
you that use AI to do the whole thing. And you can kind of return, again, we think this is going to get more important to a handshake in your local neighborhood. Loan officers can be
Yeah.
spending time doing that.
And the conversations you're having are with leads that are exclusive to you. You're not paying 5x for them, and you're not competing to try to get to them, much faster than everybody else. I do like that, if you think about there's some stat around follow up, to leads, and it's something along the lines of if you get back to them within the first 5 minutes of them submitting their information, that you actually improve your chance of connecting with them by like 120x, something crazy. And so having these tools, when we first talked about launching these products, I was amped because to be able to have the call come in to you while it's still finishing the qualification, teeing up the warm transfer, that's incredible. It's much faster than what can happen with an actual human being taking the information, then relaying it to you, and the warm transfer isn't quite there like it is
Totally,
today, you know?
totally. And I think it weighs on, like, even if you submit a lead and we're asking loan officers, we as an industry want loan officers to be closing loans and be making relationships, right? And like, I
Mm,
think the industry wants that, but you also have to have the marketing going behind the scenes, and then we're asking loan officers to 24 hours a day pick up the phone for a
yeah,
lead coming in and be ready to work them, and to make outbound calls associated with leads that are coming in, and then to make multiple calls, um, a day in
yeah,
some cases, right? To your point, speed to lead. When you're buying third party leads, you really need to be calling them within 1 minute. It's not five
yeah,
minutes. In some
yeah,
cases, some of our partners call them within 15 seconds, right? And
yeah,
so, like, how do you work the neighborhood? I'm looking outside of my neighborhood in Austin,
yeah,
right? How do you work the neighborhood when you're having
yeah.
to make all these
Um,
calls, right? You just can't do that at volume.
yeah,
So anyway, so that's the exciting part to me, is that this tech, we talked about it as like, how do you make yourself the superpower that, have AI supercharge you at the local? We believe in
yeah,
AI, but we believe in the local relationship even more. Right. And so
yeah,
the real power becomes when you put those two things together. And the biggest, best lenders are starting to do this for their loan officers and equip them with it and get them rolling. And so anyway, so we thought we come on, Justin. I see
mm,
Melanie popping back in, so we'll probably get close to time. But I thought we'd as you can tell, we get excited about this because we feel like it
yeah,
can make a real difference. And we know it's making a difference because we have the ROI data to show that. But
yeah,
whether you do it with, whether we help you with it or whether you're doing it some other way, this is a really, really
yeah.
critical thing to combine forces of the local relationship and kind of the AI supercharge.
It's honestly life changing. And from the aspect of if you don't do it, it's going to significantly impact your life because those who do it are
Yeah.
going to far and away take off ahead of you, and it's going to be very difficult to catch up. You
I
know,
think so,
it's just
right? And so you might have fewer loan officers doing more work, eating your lunch if your loan officers
yeah,
aren't there doing it. But I think the local retail loan officer is going to win in this AI
yeah,
transition. I just really do, because
yeah,
the spam and the misinformation and disinformation and trust that AI is going to create at the
yeah,
national level is just going to make it hard for consumers, to trust what's going on. And when you know they worked with your neighbor, they know your local neighborhood, they know you're in the school, right, shaking hands, they know you're at the
hmm
sports game, and you're doing this, the two of them combined is really, again, I think the secret sauce.
yeah, 100%. Hey, speaking of AI, can I even trust that Melanie's in the desert right now?
She may not be in the desert.
I don't think I am in the desert,
Look at that
but
background.
I will
It
be
looks so
soon,
real.
February 22nd through 24th, Scottsdale. Thank you.
Look at
Plug.
that, Justin teeter up for a plug. I love it. Do we know what is Melanie? Are you real today? Or are
I
you
am
like,
real.
are you an
I am
AI? Okay. Okay.
Your hair looks awfully smooth on the edges. I don't know.
I know it's strange. It's strange. Don't question it, Justin. Don't question it.
Awesome. Well, I guess do we have any questions that have come up, or is if anyone
No,
we still have
you
a minute or
guys
so if you
were
want to
so
ask them.
passionate and so excited and thorough that there's no questions in the chat. So great job.
I think that's a sign of doing a poor job, Melanie. We should
Listen,
have been the
I'm trying to
Socratic
help you
method.
guys out. I'm
Thank
trying
you.
to build you up.
What does the
Come
crowd
on.
think here? Like, what do we all think
We're going to
about
do a
AI?
poll later on LinkedIn. Stay
There we
tuned.
do. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Vocalize, for your time today. As a reminder, everyone's going to get this recording later in the week to like reflect back on it and to come up with some deep questions for Matt and Justin at a later time. So get excited.
For
But
sure.
really
And
appreciate Justin and Matt's time today. Do you guys have any like last remarks you want to give?
I'll do one real quick, and then Matt, I'll let you kind of close it up. I'm going to send an email out to everyone who's it registered and attended. In that email, obviously a quick thank you, but we'll have a link for, if you want to try out Vocalize, you could just create your account real quick. You could log in, you could poke around, you could actually create ads, and not even have to worry about any money until you actually want to launch your own ad. it's all kind of pre-baked and ready to go. So we'll have that link in case you wanted to try a lot of these tools that we talked about today. It's already created for you and ready to go.
Yeah, and I think, we've found a way recently in the past, 6 or 8 months to find a way for you to just dip your toe in. And as Justin said, just do it right from our website. You don't have to commit to big. We've realized the industry wants to see, so wants to try it. So you can do that right at our website. And then we're happy to have conversations with y'all we work with a lot of enterprises as you've heard and expect. So we love the TMC community. We were in Boston. We're going to Scottsdale, right? And so look forward to having conversations with you here and there, and just like don't be afraid. Like give your teams and your loan officers confidence, because the loan officer is not going away anytime soon, right? This is a handshake business. This is a large, monster, important transaction. And we really think there's a lot of reason to be super optimistic about the next decade for the local professional.
All right, perfect. Well, with that, that's the end of the first partner webinar of 2026. Thanks so much for everyone's time today, and stay tuned for the next partner webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. Is Melanie frozen? She's definitely
Well,
frozen. Are
I
we
think
still
she, I didn't.
online?
No, we probably are. Let's go ahead and just joke until we know that we're not. No, that was funny. I was waiting for Melanie to blink. It looked like she
Yeah,
was
she
frozen.
was definitely frozen.
All right. I think it's probably safe to say we could jump off and then we can reconvene with Melanie after this.
Okay, sounds good.